The first time Elias noticed them, they were hiding behind a broken hydroponic stall at Port Argent Station. Port Argent was a rusted trade hub on the edge of human-controlled space, the kind of place where smugglers, merchants, refugees, and dreamers all mixed in the same recycled air. Elias had come there with a cargo ship crew, working as a junior technician, just another human trying to earn credits in a galaxy that didn't care much for humans anymore. He was eating his lunch when he saw the kids. 3 small figures, thin and hunched, with shimmering gray-blue skin and eyes that reflected light like mirrors. They looked nothing like humans. Their species, he didn't even know the name, had delicate, translucent crests on their heads and long, slender fingers that trembled when they reached for scraps left behind by travelers. They were scavenging. Most people ignored them. Some looked annoyed. A few shopkeepers shouted at them to leave. Alien orphans were common in the outer sectors. Wars, piracy, collapsed colonies, every border world had its ghosts. But something about the way they stared at Elias's sandwich stuck with him. He walked over and held out the food. The tallest child flinched, as if kindness was more frightening than hunger. "Take it," Elias said gently. "I'm not that hungry." The child hesitated, then took it with a shaky hand and divided it into 3 equal pieces with precise, almost ceremonial care. They bowed. It was awkward. It was strange. But Elias walked away smiling. He didn't know it then, but that moment would change the fate of the galaxy. 1. The human who shared food. Elias started bringing extra food every day. It wasn't charity, it was routine. He'd grab surplus rations from the ship's galley and meet the kids at the same broken stall. Over time, he learned their names, or at least approximations. Tiri was the oldest, calm and observant. Vesh was curious, constantly touching everything. Luma was the smallest, barely speaking, but always smiling when Elias arrived. They spoke basic trade lingua, broken but understandable. "You are human," Tiri said once. "Humans are not common here." "Yeah, we're kind of unpopular," Elias admitted. "Why?" Vesh asked. Elias thought about it. Humans were considered aggressive, unpredictable, and stubborn. The Galactic Coalition tolerated humanity but never fully trusted them. "Because we're weird," he finally said. The kids laughed, a soft chiming sound. Every day they asked him questions about Earth, about oceans, about gravity, about trees that grew naturally instead of in domes. He told them stories of blue skies, storms, birds, and cities that touched the clouds. To them, he was a window into another world. To him, they were just kids who deserved more than scraps. 2. Rumors of the Queen. The galaxy had rulers, councils, and empires, but above them all was the Queen of the Virellian Dominion. The Virellians were ancient, powerful, mysterious. Their queen ruled thousands of star systems with a mix of diplomacy and terrifying military force. She was rumored to be immortal, or at least centuries old. No one outside her inner circle had seen her in decades. Some said she was ruthless. Others said she was wise. Most just said she was terrifying. Elias heard stories in the station bars. Traders whispered that the Queen's intelligence network spanned every port. Pirates claimed she could predict rebellions before they started. Diplomats said she spoke 10,000 languages. Elias never paid much attention. Queens and empires were far above his pay grade. 3. The day everything changed. One evening, Elias arrived at the stall with his usual bag of food. The kids weren't there. He waited. An hour passed. Then 2. A bad feeling crawled up his spine. He asked around the station. Most people shrugged. A vendor finally muttered, "Those alien brats?" Security took them. Said they were unauthorized refugees. Unauthorized refugees. That usually meant deportation, forced labor camps, or worse. Elias didn't hesitate. He stormed into the station's security office, demanding answers. The officer, a tall reptilian species with a bored expression, looked at him like he was insane. "They are minors," Elias said. "You can't just take them." "They are undocumented Virellian juveniles," the officer replied. "Their species is not listed among registered refugees. Protocol requires transfer to Dominion custody." "Dominion custody?" Elias repeated. The officer nodded. A Virellian patrol ship arrived. They claimed the children were lost assets. Assets. Elias felt sick. 4. The Virellian ship. Against every rule, Elias sneaked into the docking bay where the Virellian ship had arrived. It was massive, sleek black hull, glowing runes etched into the metal, silent engines that hummed like a living organism. He shouldn't have boarded it. He boarded it anyway. Humans were weird like that. Inside, everything was pristine and alien. Tall guards escorted the 3 kids down a corridor toward what looked like a ceremonial chamber. Elias followed, heart pounding. When the doors opened, he froze. The chamber was enormous, filled with holographic star maps and crystalline structures that pulsed with energy. At the center sat a throne-like structure carved from luminous crystal. And seated upon it was a woman, or something close to one. Tall, graceful, skin the same shimmering blue-gray as the children. Eyes like galaxies trapped behind glass. A crown of bioluminescent tendrils framed her head. She radiated authority in a way no human leader ever could. The kids ran toward her. "Mother!" Luma cried. Elias's brain stopped working. "Mother!" The guards bowed deeply. The Queen of the Virellian Dominion stood and walked toward them, her presence filling the room. She knelt and embraced the children. Then her gaze shifted to Elias. Every Virellian in the room turned toward him. He realized he was standing in front of the most powerful being in known space with a bag of half-eaten sandwiches in his hand. 5. The Queen's Judgment. "Who is this human?" the Queen asked. Her voice was calm, but it carried weight, like gravity itself. Tiri stepped forward. "He is Elias. He gave us food. He talked to us. He stayed." The Queen studied him. "You knew they were Virellian?" "No," Elias admitted honestly. "I just knew they were hungry." Silence fell. One of the advisors whispered something in the Queen's ear. She raised a hand, silencing them. "You risked punishment to follow them here," she said. "Yes." "Why?" Elias hesitated. Then he shrugged. "Because they're kids." The Queen stared at him as if he had spoken an ancient truth. After a long moment, she turned to her advisors. "Leave us." They hesitated. "Leave us," she repeated, and they obeyed instantly. The Queen sat on the throne again, the children beside her. "You do not know who we are," she said. "I know now," Elias replied. "And yet you treated them as equals." "I treated them as hungry," he corrected. She tilted her head slightly, intrigued. "Most species fear Virellians. Humans are cautious, but rarely kind without motive." "I didn't have a motive." She looked into his mind with technology he didn't understand. He felt something brush against his thoughts, analyzing, measuring, searching for deception. She found none. 6. The Truth of the Orphans. The Queen explained. Her children had been sent on a diplomatic mission that was attacked by pirates. Their escort vessel had been destroyed, and escape pods scattered across multiple systems. For months, she believed them dead. But they had survived, drifting until they were rescued by traders who dumped them at Port Argent Station rather than deal with Virellian authorities. "They were lost," she said softly. "And you found them." "I just shared lunch," Elias said. "Sometimes that is enough," she replied. 7. The Queen's Offer. "You could have ignored them," she continued. You could have exploited them. Many would have. I didn't. Therefore, I owe you a debt. Elias laughed nervously. I'm not sure I want a debt from a galactic queen. She smiled faintly. You will receive protection, wealth, and status beyond imagination. You may live anywhere in the Dominion. You may command fleets. You may shape policy. Elias thought about it. He thought about Earth, his crew, his simple life-fixing ship engines. Can I go home? He asked. Yes. Can I still be normal? No, she said honestly. He sighed. Then I'll pass on the fleets and palaces. But I'd like to visit the kids sometimes. The Queen stared at him in silence. Then she laughed. It was a sound like stars colliding. 8. The human influence. The story spread like wildfire. A human technician had fed the Queen's children. The Queen had personally spoken to him. He had refused power. The galaxy was stunned. Humans were suddenly seen differently. The Queen invited Elias to Virellian Prime, where he walked through cities older than human civilization, guided by 3 excited children who proudly called him Friend of the Crown. He taught them how to cook human food. They taught him Virellian games that involved manipulating gravity fields. He didn't become a general or diplomat. He became something more dangerous. A symbol. 9. The Queen's decision. One day, the Queen summoned him privately. You changed my perspective, she said. On what? On humans. On kindness. On power. She explained that for centuries, the Dominion had ruled through calculated dominance. Compassion was seen as weakness. But my children survived because of compassion, she said. From a species we dismissed. Elias shrugged. Humans do dumb heroic things sometimes. She looked at him with something like admiration. I will change the Dominion's policies toward humanity. Trade agreements, cultural exchanges, joint research. You will be the first human ambassador. I'm not qualified. You shared food with hungry children. That is qualification enough. 10. A proper ending. Years later, Elias stood on a balcony overlooking Virellian Prime's capital city. Ships moved like fireflies through the sky. Tiri, Vesh, and Luma were older now, studying politics, science, and diplomacy. They still visited him, still asked about Earth, still loved human sandwiches. The Queen joined him, hands clasped behind her back. The galaxy is changing, she said. Yeah, Elias replied. Because 3 kids were hungry. She smiled. Because 1 human was kind. Far across the stars, humans and Virellians built joint colonies. Wars were avoided. Trade flourished. Cultures mixed. All because a technician shared his lunch. Elias looked at the stars and thought about that first day at Port Argent Station. He never knew their mother ruled the galaxy. He only knew they needed food. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness echo across the universe. And sometimes, the galaxy bows, not to power, but to humanity. END